Уважаемые пассажиры, электропоезд до Александрова отправится от третьей платформы 4-го пути в 9 часов 13 минут.
Death is a taboo subject in Russia. It is not something you talk about. The country has its own take on funeral rites, such as open coffins, which allow the living to take a last look at the dead and pay them their final respects. It's a dignified farewell.
This job is unique. You can't do this every day. You can see the eyes. I need a special needle to do them, one that will cut into and scratch the stone. It takes me around 1 week to do one headstone. Some clients say, I just want a square one, I don't need any figures. Others will tell me, I don't like square ones, I need something like this. Everyone has their own taste, their own vision. This has been a tradition for centuries. It has to be meaningful.
Какой-то смысл в этом есть. Ставишь для живых уже как бы.
Headstones are for the living. You put them up for yourself, for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. My children will put up a headstone for me, for example. And then the next generation, their children, will say, that's my grandfather's grave. Headstones are there so that people remember you.
The first one died and then the other.
Sometimes we accompany entire families. The people in this album didn't have anyone, but they weren't strangers to us. The goal of hospice care is to make sure that one's last days are pleasant and peaceful, and the most important days for anyone in our care, and for the people who surround them.
Let's put our elbow down so it doesn't hurt.
Of course, hospice care is about life. But it's about life when death is already close at hand.
Наслали лекарства, и даже с жидкостью было. Мой любимый ковшин убрали.
Но сердечко бьется
Your pulse is good.
ровненько. Боли сердечной
And no chest pain?
за грудиной.
Да, нет. Как в сказке.
It's like being in a fairy tale. I'm in a comfortable room. The people are amazing. They're warm-hearted, kind, and helpful. If you just say one word, they get to work. They ask, "What do you need? Where is it?" You can't deny it. It's in their blood.
Наверное, у них уже в крови.
Death is a very intimate subject. In Europe, people see it as a matter only for the family, but there is also a public aspect. And in Russia, people are more open. Maybe that's why the coffin is usually open at a Russian funeral. A deceased body is a source of danger. Even in a closed casket, people can get infected. In Russian culture, you touch the corpse. You kiss it, sometimes even on the lips. That may not sound pleasant, but it's what happens. And it increases the danger several times over. There are measures that can help mitigate the dangers. People wouldn't be able to handle seeing a corpse as it is. It would scare them or disgust them. They would feel afraid. That's why we use makeup. We don't do evening makeup or get the face to look more beautiful, like for a night out. Nor can we make them look like they did when they were alive. What we do is to make them up so that the people who attend the funeral won't be afraid.
We met at the graveyard.
I was selling flowers. I was working in human relations at the time, but on the weekends I sold flowers. just to make some money on the side. He drove up to me in his delivery truck and asked me to marry him.
On the very first day, I felt this energy and knew she was the one for me.
Даже в этой сфере не каждому дано это работать.
Not everyone can work in this industry. It looks like a normal job, like a construction site maybe. But I know people who set one foot in the graveyard and straight away said it wasn't the place for them.
Сказали, тебе здесь нельзя.
It's somehow mystical.
Мистическое.
Yes, mystical.
Куда надо?
Куда можно дать?
Это связано с душами людьми.
It's connected to people's souls. You know what I mean?
Это не просто машину ремонтировать.
It's not like repairing a car. Every client that comes to us has pain. They cry. They tell you everything. You try to understand them. And you start to think that what you're doing really matters.
И ты считаешь, что такое вот дело делаешь огромное.
Все, хорошо.
Our house calls aren't like calling the ambulance. We don't just come when we're called. Our service is like stationary care, but at home. We've been observing this patient for the last year.
100, причем много, надо же вот 10 миллиграмм разницы. Когда не болит, то и не чувствуется. Его нельзя прекращать.
Нет, я имею в виду, что эта упаковка закончится, дженериковская.
Да. Если дадут, то да, получится, что обязательно. Я не знаю, что бы я делала вообще.
Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without hospice care.
Год назад, год назад, в октябре.
A year ago, when I was diagnosed in October, my breast looked like the night sky in the X-ray. It was completely white from the cancer, with a little black for the rest. The doctors didn't think I'd survive till New Year's. We all get sent to chemotherapy, no exceptions. They don't tell you the chemo only buys you a couple of months of life that's not worth living, and then that's it. That life is impossible to live. You're connected to an oxygen machine, and even then you can't catch your breath. That's why if you don't know about certain drugs, you just take what the doctors prescribe you, and you're one step closer to the grave. It's that simple.
Since targeted therapy was developed, that's a direct attack on the cancer cells. Since it was developed, the life expectancy of patients with a diagnosis like Irina in Europe and around the world has been between 3 to 5 years.
Come on, let's show the tomatoes. We planted a bunch. Look, a red tomato, and here's a green one.
She takes morphine. That's not just a painkiller. It also helps with her shortness of breath. At first she was afraid. She's an educated young woman. She read everything and knew that it was impossible to develop an addiction with the right dosage. But she was still worried.
It sounds banal, but it's every moment of life. When you wake up in the morning and are able to breathe. I can remember the first time I went to the kitchen without all those tubes and was able to cook dinner. It was the simplest thing, something people do every day, but no one appreciates it. And it's such pleasure. I could cook for myself. It's only after you have lain around like a corpse for 2 months that you understand how important simple pleasures are. having a coffee in the morning while you look out the window. That's amazing.
You can't not feel pity seeing the mother of a young boy in that condition. It's impossible. And if you can't feel their pain, you should leave the hospice as quickly as possible, because that's a sign. If you cry, it means that you're still alive and that you can help.
A cremation takes over an hour. Sometimes it's less, but often it will be around an hour and 20 minutes. We are seeing more and more cremations each year. The demand is growing. We started with 2 or 3 a day. Now it's 20 or more. There are currently 26 crematoriums in operation in Russia. For a country as massive as ours, that's not that many.
It's an old headstone. It's staying inside. You can't throw it away. It shouldn't land on a trash heap, right? It's the other way around. The graveyard is the most holy of places. Who or what should I be afraid of here? It's the cities that are scary, not this place.
I actually like my job, because every day you see how thankful people can be. They come to us in the middle of a difficult situation, maybe even the most difficult situation, death. There is nothing worse than losing someone close to you. We help people during that time. And when we do our work well and don't get in the way, people are grateful because we helped carry out their last will, their last wishes.
Honestly, I feel this job brings me closer to God.
Ближе к Богу.
Но если мы 7 тысяч пациентов сопровождали,
We've accompanied around 7,000 people during their last days. Only 2 or 3 recovered. That means 7,000 people passed on while in our care. What makes our work so important is that all the negative aspects are replaced with positive ones. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's better for the families. But when we spoke with Irina today, she said that she hadn't understood what a pleasure it is to wake up, to hug someone, to cook. When you work in hospice care, you do understand that.
The Russians is a 6-part DW documentary series looking at life in Russia. You can find further episodes of the DW documentary series The Russians on our YouTube channel.